You have a Democrat Party, and you have a large portion of the media automatically giving a guy a pass. He's been given a pass. Whether or not he's going to be the nominee, I have no idea. But he's getting a pass.
Well, there's no doubt about that. The president talking about Joe Biden. Welcome back, everyone. The media is so out of control. They're going crazy over the president's disinfectant comments about injecting it. Was he being sarcastic? Did he mean to inject it into a room? Who knows the answer to all of that? The comments, though, were certainly not the president's best moment. But it became the only thing the media could focus on. MSNBC even brought on a mental health expert to make the case that the president isn't well. Have they watched their candidate conduct interviews these days? Joe Biden is their candidate. Please, media, do not throw stones like that when Joe Biden's your guy. I want to bring in Dan Gaynor from the Media Research Center and Bobby Everly from GOP USA. Bobby, first to you. President Biden can't even string a sentence together, and they're asking whether President Trump has mental issues.
Oh, I know. I mean, Grant, and I appreciate you being on the show today. But right, Joe Biden, you know the thing. He can't say anything. He can't do anything. And yet the media completely ignore what's going on with Joe Biden. They completely ignore what's going on with these sexual assault allegations that even breaking news, it's just come out the past day. CNN knew about this. They knew about this for a couple of decades when Tara Reade's mom called into Larry King complaining about what her daughter was going through. They cover it up. Yet anything President Trump says, they're after him. They're all over him. They're on the attack, and they won't let up. They will not let up, and they just keep going.
All right, Dan Gaynor, you know about a double standard. And I want to make this clear about Joe Biden, these allegations against him. I am a firm believer that a man is innocent until proven guilty. I am a firm believer that we should listen to victims, do our investigation, but start throwing allegations around. So what I want to focus on is the hypocrisy in all of this. The media went crazy on Kavanaugh. You've got to believe the victim. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. When it comes to Joe Biden, the double standard is certainly on display, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, well, I mean, what happened to believe all women? That was the Joe Biden line, not just the left's line. Joe Biden pushed that. Now, of course, we have, and the reason why this is a more credible argument than, allegation than what happened with Kavanaugh or others is this tape that came out, hit the public yesterday from an old Larry King episode. Literally has Tara Reade's mom calling into Larry King, talking about an incident involving her, her daughter and a senator, a prominent senator. So, the big issue always with these allegations is, did they tell anyone at the time? Is there any evidence that something occurred? This is pretty big. And yet the media want to go after Trump for every word he says. Well, I mean, we both do TV, we do radio. When you go on media all the time, sooner or later you're going to say something that's misinterpreted. Sooner or later somebody's going to say, oh, there's a gotcha moment. But here's a flat out gotcha. And, I saw somebody say this on Twitter last night. I think they're very right. The CNN will probably never cover it as much as they did back in 1993.
Yeah, of course. Well, of course it's true. And so now, look, Bobby Everly, the president says after his disinfectant comments, the media, they slam him, they jump on him, they attack him. They say, well, we're going to cut back some of these press briefings. In many respects, I wish the president would just keep doing what he's doing, keep calling out the fake news media the way he is. Bobby, you think he should be cutting back these news conferences?
No, absolutely not. And what's amazing, Grant, is that there's just a new survey. It just came out yesterday. It was reported yesterday from the McLaughlin Group, and it's fascinating. It shows that the American people aren't buying what the media are saying. 49%, nearly a majority, think the media is actively trying to switch blame from China to President Trump over coronavirus, and 48% says the media is biased and unfair. And what's interesting, what I think is the most interesting point in the whole survey, is it says 56% of those surveyed watch the briefings, the coronavirus task force briefings regularly, 56%. And that is an arena, a situation that President Trump controls.
All right, so that's an important number because as the Media Research Center has continued to report on as they track how much the other cable networks actually cover the briefings, specifically when President Trump talks. Dan Gaynor, they cut away from the president time and time again.
MSNBC is the next worst. Fox shows almost all of it. Now you got to cut for commercials because everybody's got to pay the bills. But the idea that CNN thinks they can censor the president of the United States, that's what the push is behind here. Major media want to shut down Trump because they're afraid it helps him. So what I think the president should do, if you want to continue these, is switch to some other media. Certainly include enough of the major idiots that they say dumb things, because that's part of the idea. But then also include some local media, some conservative media, work in the Newsmax, CNS News, OANN, work in some outlets that otherwise are getting little attention. And that way you get a diversity of questions that the media, frankly, will make them crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's free markets at work. That's the American people saying, hey, we want an alternative. Dan, before I go to Bobby, real quick, I saw a headline in Politico where it turns out now it falsely claimed Donald Trump of owing millions of dollars to the Bank of China. It turned out this loan was a conglomerate of a number of different banks to the Bank of China, and it was paid off years ago. But that didn't stop him from running a big headline, did it?
No, I mean, it's the same thing with that stupid, Trump invests in the coronavirus drug story. And it turns out Trump had a little money in a mutual fund, and so it ended up being he had like $500 worth of money in this company. But they will hammer that, and then the headline will continue long after the story is debunked. They don't care. The whole thing is just throw mud on him, and hopefully some of it sticks.
All right, Bobby Everly, I want to ask you, you are ingrained in the race car scene as a race car driver yourself. Where do some of these pro athletes, like race car drivers, come down on all of this stuff real quick in about 30 seconds?
Well, yeah, I mean, in the IndyCar scene, it's a very conservative audience. I mean, it was very pro-Trump out there. I think you see that in NASCAR as well. These folks just want to get back to work. And what I love is seeing these talks about at least getting the competitions going, the baseball games going, races going, even if it's in empty stadiums, because at least you get the TV revenue. At least all the people that are under lockdown right now can enjoy something rather than 6-year-old football games. I mean, there's got to be something we can do. And the media, again, out of control, attacking Trump because they know they're on the losing end.
All right, Bobby, I hope that they offer you up an opportunity to drive these race cars in these video games. I was watching a video game the other day, and it was Formula One racing on video. I didn't even know the graphics were so unbelievable. Bobby, thank you so much. Dan Gaynor, thank you as well. We will see you both next time. All right, folks, stay with us. Another hour of Saturday Report continues right after this break.